within 2 years, and yeah, life was pretty good. But then of course there were three things that kicked us out of the market. First of all, the market became saturated. There are, I don't know, maybe now over 600 different platforms in the UK, and then the banks moved in and they backed my competitors and not me. So how deep were my pockets? Well, not that deep. And so I'm not going to be that foolish to compete with the banks. So I sat with one of my mentors, who actually is one of my competitors, who paid for my marketing in the early days, even though I was a competitor. But hey, we've known each other for quite a long time. And he said, look, Karen, unless you can raise X, it's better to move into different markets. He said, and I said, yeah, I think so. So we moved more into what we call investment market, where probably I'm more well known. I have a good track record, particularly in not just in this city. I've worked in America, I've worked across the continent, worked in Middle East, and I think we relaunch it in September as an alternative. Will be what we call an investment. What did we do with the alternative finance? Well, we actually sourced it out to our main competitor. So we had quite a few that came to us and said we would like that opportunity because of the leads. And we said, obviously, it wasn't about money. It's about who you trust and who you have a relationship with. And to me, even though one of them offered me 10% more, I decided I'm going to go with the people that I've known for 30 odd years. I trust them. They're very transparent. So they've got a new piece of software which we're white labeling onto my new platform, and they'll just take the leads and we'll just take a percentage. So that takes that headache away from me. So we'll launch a 3-tier different, what we call an investment platform. So it'll be members only. And it will be as very little as £20, but roll on, roll off. So if you needed a service, so for example, just very quickly, if you needed an example and some software to do a pitch deck, and you haven't got 4 to 15 grand to do a very, shall we say, slick pitch deck, then I've just brought in some data from America, and that will give you access to that, and there will be webinars. And then once you've used that, you might think, I don't need to belong to this anymore for the next few months because I'm going to work on my pitch deck. So you can leave us and you can come back anytime. It's like hop on buses, really. So that's just something that we've done. On the second tier, we've probably grown our database of investors, and we've put them into 12 categories. And for some of those, obviously they're out there in the public domain, so we can have those. It will become so you'll just answer 6 questions and it'll throw up what type of investors, not just within the UK, but with globally. There are 2 other platforms you might be aware of, which is Angel Invest. Yeah, which we were at their event the other night. I use them too. They're the biggest they say they're the biggest in the globally, 130,000, I think, investors. And I've started using it because I've been a guinea pig of theirs because I'm testing out some new software with them. I like it. It's early days. We've only been with them 2 weeks. But I also see that there's room for improvements, as indeed there always is in technology. Then we use another one, Crunchbase. Anyone use them? Yeah, we use those too. It's early days for us, but I don't find them as sophisticated, their software, as actually Angel Invest, but that's just my opinion. Maybe it's early days. I think there's it's a little bit, they're both quite easy to use, and there's a few others out there. There's one called, I think, Funding Night. Anyone use those? No? So that's where we're going. And then on the third level, this is when we tend to work with, I suppose, seed stage, and then moving up. I think the biggest one I did last year was 120, it was about 120,000. 120 million. For me, my sweet spot really is A to C, and that's where I like to position, and that's probably where I'm more comfortable. I find that is a lot easier for me, probably because I've got quite a big network that I can go out to very quickly. I only work with 6 clients at a time, and then just coming onto that, for those, most of those actually have been pitching this afternoon. So what I tend to find with my investors, because sometimes they'll use me to actually go out and source, and they give me what we call, I suppose it's their wish list of what they'd like to look at. And that's one of the reasons, is because some investors used to be in your shoes, some of those that pitched this afternoon. So 10, 12 years ago, they were in your shoes, they were starting out, they spent 10, 12 years building up a company that they've sold, exit, and they've gone and got married, had families, they've made loads of money, and then they go away to play golf and sit on the beach. I have quite a few of my private investors that have done that, and then all of a sudden you get an email from them and they say, I'm bored, but they don't want to go back to running a business, but they'd like to be part of a business that perhaps they know, that they have knowledge, they have skills, where they've been there before. They don't want to fly back to the UK. A lot of them live abroad, spend most of their time, and they'll ask me to source some businesses. And so that is my job, is to put them together, prepare them, make sure that their decks, their executive summary, their financials, all of that is as a package, and then I send that out to them wherever they are in the world. And then at the next stage, if they like that, it's rather to follow up with more information, or it might be that they might want to do a call, or indeed they might fly in to meet them. So I have a bit of I'm really what we could call a broker, an intermediary, but it's actually putting the two together. So that's businesses that are looking to source investment, and also investors who are looking for the one that fits them, the next big thing, the next big Facebook. Though I do hate that when someone says to me, we're just like Facebook, we're the new Facebook. That really does turn me completely off. So because I don't know, I might get it wrong, but at the moment I just can't see anyone coming up with anything that can compete with Facebook. I'm not a lover of it myself personally. I prefer LinkedIn, and but I have noticed over the last couple of years that we've started to use Facebook a lot more than what we used to, and it seems to be paying off slowly. So we'll see where that goes. And then on the other side, I have another company called Gateway2Digital. We entered in Virgin Voom last year, and we got into the last top 7. I knew we wouldn't win, and that's I just knew that we didn't have enough traction in that days, plus we weren't ethical enough for Richard Branson, but I knew that we would get in the top 10. But what propelled us into that, for those of you who know anything about that, is because I have a huge audience. So I have a very big data, and